Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back, and today's video is about a different gacha game. I know, I have no life, you can laugh at me, go ahead. If someone I know sees this video and goes, hey wait, I thought you said you weren't going to re-download Wuthering Waves? Yeah, well, anyway, look at Luuk Herssen. This man is the reason I downloaded the game again, honestly. I literally had a text conversation with my friend where I said, Luuk is attractive, but you know, I'm probably not going to re-download the game just because I want him, and if I did re-download it, I probably even wouldn't stick with the game. Unfortunately, his pull, his aura, whatever you want to call it, is too strong, so here we are. And if you're thinking, Luuk's banner was kind of a long time ago, yeah, well, I wanted to release this video before my trip to New Zealand, but due to laziness, that did not happen. This video will cover when I started playing and what I like about the game. I'll also talk about the characters I have right now and the teams I use because I just find that fun to discuss, I don't know. Just a warning, I will discuss story spoilers for the entirety of wuwa so far, so if you don't want anything spoiled, do not watch for now. With all that said, let's hop into it. Not sure if this will surprise anyone, but I actually started playing Wuthering Waves pretty much on release. I remember a lot of people were saying it's going to be a Genshin Impact copy, and I got a little interested, and then a friend of mine told me she really liked it, so I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. I think I downloaded it a few days after it was released. I found the game fun, and it honestly wasn't that much like Genshin in my opinion, aside from the gacha and how you could farm for materials. I thought some of the character designs were cool, similar to older anime styles from like the 90s to early 2000s. That's the style I would call them, but if I'm wrong, you can correct me. I'd say from then I played on and off until about Brant's banner. I pulled for Brant and literally spent money on the game to make sure I got him. I also got his weapon from doing single pulls, but I recall that my weapon banner pity was quite high at the time, so it makes sense. After that, I just kinda lost interest in the game and decided to uninstall it, and I didn't really expect to download it again. Enter the man, Luuk Herssen himself. I kept seeing YouTube shorts about the new character Luuk Herssen, and it made me a little tempted to pull for him, but I didn't know if I'd stick with wuwa, even if I did re-download it just to pull for him. However, his appeal was just too strong, and I eventually caved, re-downloaded the game, and that's why I'm making this video. Wuthering Waves has the same problem as a lot of gacha games, which is a lack of male characters. I'm kind of someone who I play a gacha game and I'll pull for characters I like, and a lot of times those characters end up being male. Kind of just a husband puller, you know? I do think wuwa has a lower percentage of male characters than a game like Genshin Impact, but when they do make a male character, they really cook. I said I have Brant, but I also really like the designs of characters like Zhangli Yao and Chou Yuan. It would be great if a gacha game had an It would be great if a gacha game had an even 50-50 split between male and female characters. I know 50-50 is a really triggering term, but I mean like 50% to 50%. I don't mean it in the gacha sense. But I guess we just have to make do with what we have. I am disappointed that they didn't make characters like Avidius Cristoforo and the Shaper playable, though. Now, Avidius is dead, so obviously they won't make him playable, but like, come on. He's a creation of the Fraxidus, Denya is a creation of the Fraxidus, but one of these got to live and become playable and one of them didn't. But I still have some hope for Cristoforo and the Shaper. For Cristoforo, I do kind of wonder if they'll pull a Sunday from HSR on him, making him go through some sort of redemption arc before he gets a new design and then becomes playable. However, he does share a voice actor with Brant in the English, so I kind of wonder if they just are not planning to make him playable and they just didn't care to give him a different voice actor for that. But, you know, I'm all here for two characters voiced by that guy. I don't know how to say his name. Also, by the way, I recognized his voice actor's name, Brant's voice actor's name, or Cristoforo's English voice actor's name, because I played a little MMORPG gacha game back in the day called Dragon Raja, which I think it still runs, and they have like another game they're releasing, or they just released. Anyway, fun fact, the guy who voices Brant and Cristoforo also voices Yohanshu and Finger in the Dragon Raja mobile game. That is a really random connection, and this wasn't even in the script, I just wanted to talk about it. However, I think the Shaper, or Isander? I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. I think he has a higher probability of becoming a playable character in the future. I did think he was just going to die, honestly, but then he said the collective was searching for a way to save him, which gave me some hope. And then he showed up in one of the more recent story quests alongside the other characters. Like, bro thought he was part of the team, and he definitely was. He is part of the team, and he will be part of the team, trust. I don't care about anyone else now. I'm saving for the Shaper, even if he's never playable. Also, surely we're getting Geshu Lin at some point, right? I've really enjoyed playing through the story quests again. I always liked Wuthering Waves' story, even when I wasn't really into the game. For everyone's information, at the time I'm writing this script, I'm pretty much caught up on all the main quests except the part with Lucilla. Like, she just got released, so I haven't done her part of the quest yet, and I haven't done much of the collab quest with the Cyberpunk Edgerunners thing yet. Also, I've barely touched any of the character quests, so there's that. I've especially enjoyed playing the Lahai Roy story quests. They've been very interesting and heartfelt at the same time. Now, iMyth's story was very similar to Cyrene's from Hunkai's Star Rail. From her appearance, to the time travel, to the fragment of herself being left behind, it was all a little too familiar to me. That exoswarm husk? That's just meh, you get me? It made her story feel a little unoriginal, but it's not like I didn't like her part of the quest line. I really liked her part of the quest. Complaining about this would be like complaining about eating 2 delicious cakes or your delicious food of choice. These are 2 very emotional and fascinating stories that made me tear up. iMyth's story is very beautiful, and at the end of the day, she and Cyrene aren't the same character, even if they're very similar. I'm pretty sure Cyrene and her story were released first, like if we're thinking chronologically, and then we have iMyth. But honestly, I think these companies plan out their stories like a long time in advance, like way in advance. So there's a probability that this was like completely coincidental, which would be kind of funny, honestly. And it was honestly really refreshing to see Rover have a more familial relationship with iMyth rather than some of the relationships they have with the other characters. I just thought that was really cool. Something else I like about the story quests in Wuthering Waves is the creative ways you can get through the quests. I have a recording here of a part of a Lahai Roy quest where you walk on walls in a puzzle of sorts to progress. And like stuff like that for me just helps break up the dialogue, cutscenes, and fight scenes, and it makes the quest feel more interactive. This is just a general what other things do I like about this game section. First of all, this game is beautiful, and I've always thought that. I'll put up some screenshots I took during various quests as I was catching up on the story, and there are just so many times I find myself in awe of the scenery. There's even this tree in Jinzhou that I've always liked. The first time I completed the quest this tree is a part of, I took a photo and made it my background for a little while, actually. Back when I was a Shangli Yao main. Parts of the Honami quest are beautiful, and there are many breathtaking views in Renacida as well. Something I actually didn't know about Wuthering Waves that I like is the guarantee for the weapon banner. I didn't learn this until I came back to the game recently, but yeah, you're always guaranteed to get the event weapon, which I think is really awesome. It's honestly just a really nice thing, and it can make saving for a character easier if you want to get their weapon. However, I've been very broke lately because I've been pulling for too many characters, so I haven't pulled for any weapons. On a similar note, I do like the lower pity and generosity of Wuthering Waves. Login events that give you pulls are nice in any gacha game, and wuwa seems to just have more generous rewards in general compared to Genshin. Although being more generous than Genshin is kind of a low bar at this point, so yeah. I don't entirely understand why there's a separate gacha currency for the weapon banner. I kinda don't like it, but I can always just save my asteroids and purchase gacha currencies as needed. I also don't really want standard banner pulls during the login event, but that's not really a big deal. I also like the more unique combat system Wuthering Waves has. The ecosystem specifically makes it more unique in my opinion. Of course, we still need to suffer through finding the correct main and substats because they're pretty much just artifacts, but using them in combat I think is pretty cool. The echoes provide something different that I find interesting. Before I get into this section, I just want to say, Mortefi supremacy. Anyway, back when I first started the game, I used a Jinshi team with her, Mortefi, and Verena. I got really lucky on her weapon banner too, as in I got it in like 10 pity, so she felt pretty strong to me. Then I got Shangli Yao for free like many others, and I used him with, you might have guessed it, Mortefi and Verena. I then got Shorekeeper later because I liked her as a character, and I knew she was going to be a really strong support, and I then added her to my Shangli Yao team. However, when I came back to the game, I focused on building my Brant team, which had him, Mortefi, and Shorekeeper. Yeah, I built Brant as a main DPS. He's just too cool not to. However, I recently got Mornier, so she replaced Shorekeeper in that team, so Brant's outro skill isn't completely useless. I pulled for Luuk, of course, as you know, that's what this video is about, and I've been focusing on building him right now. I mainly need to focus on leveling his talents? Forte? I don't remember what it's called. Currently, my Luuk team is him, Mortefi, and Mornier, but I eventually want to replace Mortefi with Sanhua, mainly so Mortefi isn't in every single team, because, especially with some of the later game content, I know I need to have like 2 unique teams to clear some of it, so it'd be nice to have actually 2 unique teams. I also got Choyen after Luuk on Choyen's rerun, and he's in a team with Mortefi and Shorekeeper. Yes, I built DPS Choyen because I don't want Galbrana or Sagrika, even if the latter is super cute and lovable. I really like her, but I don't want to pull for her. Choyin might be one of my favorite character designs so far, actually. He just looks really cool to me, and the cinematic thing that happens after he uses charged attack is simply fantastic. Oh yeah, I also had a brief moment as a Havoc Rover main, but that didn't last. Once I'm done building my Luuk team, I'll probably go back to building Shangli Yao just to diversify the elements of my main damage dealers. As for who I'm saving for now, you already know. It's the Shaper. I don't care if this is the biggest copium inhalation ever, he will be mine. But also, I just saw the reveal for the next wave of characters and I got my eye on Qin Shao. You know, we dragons gotta stick together. I guess that's everything? I don't really have anything else to say, so I guess we're gonna move into the conclusion. Right now, I'm just focused on doing story quests as they come out and then catching up on events when I have the time to. Hopefully, I'll get around to doing all the character quests at some point because I literally haven't even completed Chongli's yet. So yeah, I've been having fun playing, farming, and catching up on things. Maybe I'll do some streams in the future where I force myself to play some exploration or character quests so I can get more things done. I say forced. It's not like it's a bad thing, it's just sometimes it's hard for me to make myself do those quests, you know? I'll stop here for now, so thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps me out a ton, but if you don't want to, no worries, no stress, I understand. Let me know which wuwa characters you use and who you're planning to pull for next. With all that said, I'll see you in a later video. Bye-bye!